Today we're going to be talking about solo traveling in South Korea. We're going to be covering topics such as arrivals, transportation, some tips, and where to stay. But first, let me make you guys a coffee. Hello and welcome to my office. I have an iced Americano here. In Korea, these iced Americanos are really popular. You're gonna see everyone and their mom walking around with one. Even if it's in the winter, you'll see like people holding iced Americanos. And to be honest, I feel like it's always like a little bit too bitter for me. We gotta get on theme for the video. Today, I'm going to be sharing you some tips on how to get around Korea as a solo traveler. We're first gonna talk about the immigration process. So with Korea, immigrations is pretty straightforward. On the plane or before you enter customs, you're going to get a arrivals card. You're going to fill out where you're coming from, what hotel you're staying at, and some contact information about yourself. You turn the slip in and then you get your bags. They also have a thing called a K-ETA, so for some countries you may need to fill this out. If you don't need to fill this out, you're exempt. You should be fine with arrivals card. While you're at the airport, I recommend doing two things. First thing is getting some money from an ATM. The exchange rates are usually better than if you go to a counter and turn in your cash for Korean won. The second thing I want you to do is get a eSIM or SIM card. This will help you so much when you're trying to get around Korea and you're trying to navigate. Two apps that I want you to download. First one is Papago for translations, pretty self-explanatory. Number two is Naver Maps. You want to download Naver Maps because Google Maps doesn't work as well here, so you need some other app to help you navigate through Korea. So from the airport, you have options to get into downtown Seoul. From least to most expensive, trains are least expensive. Taxis are the most expensive. Number one is trains. You can follow the signs at the airport to get to the train. I like taking the bus when I have a lot of luggage and I don't want to lug it onto the train. When the train gets crowded, like I have to like shimmy myself into a corner. The airport bus has a bunch of stops throughout Seoul, so you don't have to worry about that. But maybe just worry about finding the right bus. Three is take a taxi. This is the most expensive and I don't recommend it if you're not a local. While we're talking about taxis, there is an app for you to download to use Korean taxis. I would definitely go through the app because I had a friend that got scammed. The taxi driver like overcharged them. Like they agreed to like a single price before, and then afterwards they want to charge more. So then they walked my friend to ATM. So order through an app. I was able to order taxis through Uber though, and it was just fine. To talk to your Uber driver, you would just talk through the app, and then the app translates for you, so you don't have to awkwardly like hold up your translation app. Let me take a sip of this. I'm not going to be sleeping tonight. So you left the airport and now you're in downtown Seoul. So what do you do now? What I recommend you doing is going to a CU or convenience store and you can buy a T-money card. If you don't have a credit card and you want like a fast payment method, I would recommend either getting a WOW Pass or a T-money card. Load Korean won onto them. You can pay at cafes, convenience stores, sometimes different restaurants. If the convenience store is close to a train station, you have access to a thing called a climate pass. And with the climate pass, you're able to load day passes onto the card and you get to take unlimited rides throughout Seoul on buses, trains, and this card is super convenient if it's your first time in Seoul and you're going to be taking like all the buses, all the trains. And while we're talking about restaurants, let's talk about ordering food. It's a little bit intimidating if you're solo traveling to Seoul because some restaurants will require you to have 2 people at least. And these restaurants are mostly like Korean barbecue joints. But I think Korea is getting better at letting people solo dine. And if someone rejects you, like say you're at a Korean barbecue joint and they say like, no, you need 2 people, you can say like, oh, I'll pay for like 2 people, like 2 portions. Or maybe like grab a friend off the street somewhere and like, hey, like, are you hungry? How do you order? So eventually you can get by with two phrases. One is ego juicio, and essentially you would point to the menu item and you would say this, ego juicio, this please. To get the waiter's attention, you would say jugyo, jugyo. That means excuse me. Once you finish ordering, they're going to give you the bill. And what you do is you take this bill up to the front to pay. Some cultural tips. So if you're visiting a person's house, sometimes at different restaurants as well, you're going to be taking your shoes off. And usually with these restaurants that require you to take your shoes off, it's like in someone's house. Low-key, I feel like those restaurants have really good food. On public transportation, keep the noise down. Try not to talk on your phone because it gets really packed. It gets really busy. Oh, on that topic, avoid rush hour. So that is 7 to 9 a.m. on weekdays and then 5 to 7 p.m. on weekdays. The reason for that is you'll be packed on the bus or the train like a sardine. And it's not fun if you already have like shopping bags or luggage and then you have to like squeeze in with other people. So try to avoid those times, try to plan around. Third tip, and this is a personal tip, is to slow travel. As a person who went to Korea like a bunch of times, I definitely crammed my Korea trip like the first time and it made it very like exhausting. So I definitely recommend you try slow traveling. And essentially slow traveling is like you would have like a loose itinerary, loose list of things that are not like time bound. Like at like 6 p.m. I have a reservations for this, because then like if you have too many of those, it will like stress you out and you're rushing instead of being in the moment, travel around and have fun. Also a big fan of slow traveling because it's easy on the body. So instead of waking up at like 6 a.m. to try to cram everything in the morning, wake up at like 9:30, get ready, avoid rush hour, and then get your day started at 10 feeling more energetic and rested. Okay, let's talk about where to stay in Korea based on your Myers-Briggs. If your Myers-Briggs starts with an I and you're staying near Hongdae or Itaewon, you are in the wrong place. This is the place for like the E's. Instead, you should be staying near the Hanok Village area. There's a bunch of like parks nearby for you to walk around. There's also some cool arts and craft places near that area, so I would probably recommend that instead. With the extroverts, staying near Hongdae and Itaewon might be a good choice for you if you're really into nightlife and you're like nocturnal. If you're somewhere in between introvert and extrovert, areas you consider are Myeongdong and Gangnam. These are a little bit touristy, but they're not as loud and crowded as Hongdae or Itaewon. But wherever you stay, make sure you look it up on a map and see if it's actually close to a train station or not. If you're lugging around your 5 shopping bags at the end of the day and you still have to walk like 20 minutes to get to your Airbnb or hotel, that's it, it's over. So that's some tips on Seoul. I hope you can carry these tips with you and I hope this helps your trip be a little bit more smooth. I have a blog post that will let you have more information on this. If you have any questions, feel free to drop a comment and I'll try my best to answer them. Until next time, travel well.